What's up, everybody? It's Jose with Oakland Latinos United, aka Oakland Latinos Unidos, on here with a new video for you to enjoy. Well, I'm over here in West Oakland, over here near Mandela Parkway, which used to be Cypress Street back in the days, the lower bottoms. And I'm over here on this kind of cul-de-sac, end of town type of road. And what am I doing here? Why am I down here hanging out? The reason I'm down here is because I've been wanting to make a video about this subject for a while now, and that subject is the homelessness problem in the Bay Area, or homelessness in the Bay Area, Oakland, California in general. It seems like there's a lot of people out there who are homeless. It seems like lately, especially these last few years, the homeless issue has been growing and growing. You know, there's encampments all over the place. There's people living on the streets. You know, people, like they say, homeless issue in San Francisco is bad, beyond bad. I mean, there's homeless people everywhere. And even in Oakland, there's like these encampments all over Oakland that homeless people have taken over. And, you know, even not just here. I've been to Stockton, and in Stockton, California, there's hella homeless people out there everywhere you go. You know, in Sacramento, it's the same way. And one of the differences of now than when I was young was when I was young, it seems like the homeless people were mostly generally in one little kind of Skid Row area. You know what I mean? But at least here in the Bay Area, I don't know how it is in other cities, but in cities like Oakland, San Francisco, it seems like homeless people are all over town now. And, you know, in the richest country in the world, it's pretty crazy that we have such a huge homeless problem, especially in the richest state in the country. I mean, California has its own economy, damn near. You know what I mean? We have an economy that's rich enough to be our own country, you know, but yet we still have streets flooded with homeless people. And the reason why I'm down here is because this is the area where a lot of the camps are at in West Oakland. There's others in East Oakland as well, and a lot of the homeless generally tend to come in this area. I remember just 10 years ago, there weren't no camps around here. You didn't see that many homeless people. And, you know, even just 10, 20 years ago, yeah, there were homeless, but not like now. It seems like now they're everywhere. It seemed like when I was a kid, homeless people were specifically just in small little areas, you know. Kind of like in San Francisco, they were mostly just around the Tenderloin. In Oakland, they were mostly around downtown, kind of. And, you know, now it seems like they're scattered all over the city. And what has created this situation? You know, the homeless issue is a touchy subject because it's not a black and white subject like many things. You know what I mean? Just like the racial thing. It's not necessarily a black and white subject. You know, there's a lot of things that create homelessness. You know what I mean? And I know there's some idiots out there who think, oh, they're homeless just because they're lazy, just because they're on drugs, they don't want to do nothing. Oh, I'm fucking retarded. You know, the sad thing is those kind of people are more stupid than the ones who have actually thought about it. You know what I mean? Because those people are just crying and pointing the finger at what's easy. It's not easy to point the finger at something homeless. You know what I mean? Some people are homeless, yes, because of drugs. Some people are homeless, yes, because they don't want to do anything with themselves. Maybe they, you know, whether it's mental health, whether it's drugs, whether it's just they just don't have the ganas or the will to want to change their lives. They end up homeless because, you know, that's how they want to be. But there's a lot of people who end up homeless because they lose their work jobs. There's a lot of homeless people that are homeless because they get kicked out of their homes. There's a lot of homeless people because, you know, maybe they hit hard times for whatever reason. Maybe they broke up with their spouse. Whatever, you know what I mean? You pick it, you know? The thing is, a lot of the people on the street tend to be people that are chronic homelessness. You know what I mean? What they call chronic homeless. People who just, you know, even if you help them, they just do not want to get off the streets. They tend to live on the streets for years and years and years. And you know me, I have a soft spot for the homeless issue because, I mean, I've never been homeless, thank God. I mean, pray to God I never become that way. But I've had friends who've become homeless. Not all of them were necessarily, how can I say, lazy people. Some of them hit hard times. Some of them, I have a couple friends who just don't want to live on the grid. They'll rather live in their car, or in their van, or in a trailer, and go from place to place. I got a couple of nomadic type people that are friends like that. And I know some people who actually have good jobs and just can't afford it. Let's face it. One of the reasons, and I know people don't want to hear this, but it's the truth. One of the reasons there's so much homelessness is because of gentrification. The gentrification is going on in the Bay Area. You see, in the Bay Area in the old days, there used to be a lot of abandoned buildings like this one, a lot of abandoned warehouses. And I think in the old days, a lot of the homeless people would hide out in those buildings or sleep in those buildings. But those buildings are becoming less and less. They're being taken over, and you know, they're being rehoused. They're being used as lofts or whatever. And that has pushed a lot of the homeless people to the streets. You know, there's not enough services for homeless people. There's not enough shelters. You know, gentrification. You know, I hate to believe that every single person that's homeless is out here because they're on drugs or they're lazy. There's a lot of people who work hard, who were born and raised in Oakland or in the Bay Area, but just can't afford it because it's so fucking expensive. And they work hard, but they're either living off their car, or living in another, or you know, or living in a hotel, or living from house to house. And they're hardworking people. They're not the lazy, stereotypical people that you want to fucking portray all the time, you know? And, you know, it can get frustrating as well, you know what I mean? You know, like I was in Oakland the other day in downtown, and I was kicking it on the street corner, and I was talking to my friends, and like I couldn't even get in a word because every fucking second there was someone bumming for change. Like, hey bro, you got $1? It's like, it gets annoying, but that's just the reality, man. That's just the reality of the situation. It can get annoying, but, you know, and I ain't gonna lie, I've been that person who gets irritated when a person comes up to you asking me for money. It's like, oh, not again. You know, especially when they're all, you know, fucking aggressive and shit. It can be irritating, and it can also be kind of scary in a way sometimes because you don't know what that fool might have. But, you know, the problem is there's a lot of things because of this. You know, I blame corporations. I blame fucking land speculators. I blame racism as well, classism. I blame fucking greedy ass landlords. You know, I blame drugs. You know what I mean? I blame lack of services. I don't just necessarily say those people are lazy. Those people are lazy. They don't want to work. Yes, those people do exist. The ones who have mental issues, the ones who are drug addicts, the ones who don't want to do shit. They just would rather live on the street. They do exist. I'm not going to say they don't. But there's many out there that exist that aren't in that situation. Many of you watching this video are probably a paycheck away from becoming homeless. You know what I mean? Think about that. Just think about that. Unless you're a tech, unless you're some CEO, or unless you're making 5 figures or making a lot of money, or you're just set, you know what I mean? Then you don't have to worry about it. But if you're someone living paycheck to paycheck, day to day, like me, I'm a working class guy. I live paycheck to paycheck at the moment, you know? There's always that possibility. You never know. You never know. We never want to think about that because we don't want to think about the uncomfortable or about the worst. But it's just, it is what it is. But the reason I came down here is because I wanted to show you one of the homeless encampments. And I just wanted to drive by it real quick just to show you what I'm talking about. And yeah, let's drive and talk. But yeah, you know, like I said, I'm over here in West Oakland off of, 24th Street and, 24th and Willow. We're right down the street from Mandela Parkway, right down there. If you see, that's Mandela Parkway. That used to be Cypress Street when I was a kid. That's where the freeway that fell in the 80s used to be, when the 89 earthquake. But I just want to show you the homeless encampment that's down here. You know, and these are popping up all over Oakland. They're popping up in other cities as well, like Stockton, in San Francisco, in, you know, probably in San Jose, I'm sure. You know, in Richmond, and I've seen some in Richmond. Not as many as out here, but I've seen them. I've seen them a lot in Oakland. They're all over the place. And you know, what are we gonna do to change the situation in the richest country? It should be a shame that people have to live like this. You know what I mean? To lose their dignity and have to live like like animals, man. Here's the homeless encampment I'm talking about. This is in West Oakland, in the lower bottoms on Wood Street, I believe. Here it is right here. So all this has been taken over by homeless people. This is a big homeless encampment. This wasn't here probably 5 years ago. It wasn't even here yet, I don't think. It came about, and yeah, this is the Wood Street. It came about in the 2000s, like 2015 maybe, started popping up. And yeah, I mean, this is how people are being forced to live because of gentrification, because of greed, because of capitalism gone wrong. This is how people are being forced to live, unfortunately, man. In the richest fucking state and country in the world. This is like a third world country. I've seen stuff like this when I went to Mexico and Colombia. You know what I mean? And, you know, there should be no excuse. That was the end of the homeless encampment. But these are popping up all over Oakland, man, like I said. And it's a sad situation, man. It really is. And, you know, something has to be done to help these people, man. And if something has to be done to change gentrification and just greed, you know what I mean? Just greed in general, man. Like, people just, these rich motherfuckers just do not give a flying fuck. These politicians, corruption. You know what I mean? These corrupt, so-called liberal politicians who are just as worse as the Republican or right-wingers. You know? And that's the reality that we're living in. And you have to accept it is what it is. So, that's all I have to say. This is Jose with Oakland Latinos Unidos. Just think about it. You know, think about your life. Be appreciative of what you have. Thankful for what you have. Because you can end up on the street like that, man. You never know. You know what I mean? Just appreciate the little things you have. I appreciate every day that I have a roof over my head. I have clothes on my back and I have money in my pocket, because it can be worse. You know what I mean? It can be really worse. Well, that's it. Jose, over and out.